If the business adage, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, were actually true, we'd all be millionaires right now, wouldn't we? Welcome to beabossdad.com. I'm Joel Haasenritter, and I help high achieving dads scale their business without failing their family. Today, I'm going to show you why that old networking advice is not just wrong, it's backwards. And more importantly, I'm going to give you a framework that will make you the most memorable person in any room you walk into, whether that's a conference, a coffee shop, or even a Zoom call. So think about this. With the rise of social media, you can connect with anyone in the world. LinkedIn, for example, gives you access to every executive on the planet. Facebook reconnects you with everyone from high school. Instagram lets you follow celebrity entrepreneurs. You probably, quote unquote, know hundreds, if not thousands of people. So if that adage were true, where's your $1 million? The truth is that what you know actually does matter. It's part of your value proposition. It's part of what you offer and bring to the world. Who you know also matters. But do you know what matters even more? Who knows you? So stick with me in this video, and I'm going to break down the psychology, the stories, and the proven strategies, including a framework that will transform how you network, build relationships, and create opportunities that actually move the needle in your business and in your life. So let's start with some context. That phrase, "it's not what you know, it's who you know," came from a different era. In the 1800s, the average person knew maybe 100 people, 150 people, maybe 300 people if they were well networked in their entire lifetime. Your network at that time was limited to your town or your church, maybe the neighboring county if you traveled for work. Knowing the right person, the factory owner, the mayor, the banker, could genuinely change your life because access was scarce. Fast forward to today, the average person on Facebook has 338 friends, is what I saw recently. On LinkedIn, 930 connections. Instagram followers, it varies, but many people have thousands. We went from knowing hundreds to knowing thousands in a single generation. And yet, most people still feel invisible. They go to networking events and hand out business cards that end up in the trash. I know, you and I have both been there. They send LinkedIn connection requests that get ignored. They have thousands of followers, but zero meaningful conversations. The problem isn't access anymore. The problem is memorability. So here's the thing that really bothers me the most about the "it's you know," quote unquote, mantra. If that were the only thing that mattered, then why would we bother improving ourselves at all? Why get better at your craft? Why learn new skills? Why pursue higher education or mastery of something that you love? Let me tell you a story that actually illustrates this perfectly. There's a famous story in the business world especially, and I want you to really sit with this one. It's about a manufacturing plant that had a critical machine breakdown. Production stopped. They were losing thousands of dollars every hour. The plant manager called in engineer after engineer, and nobody could figure it out. Finally, someone recommended an old repairman who had decades of experience with this type of equipment. The repairman showed up. He walked around the machine for a few minutes, listening and observing. Then he took out a small screwdriver and tightened one screw. Instantly, the machine roared back to life. The plant manager was thrilled until he got the invoice for $1,000. Then he became furious. $1,000 for 5 minutes of work for one screw that you tightened? I want an itemized bill. So, in his wisdom, the repairman smiled and wrote out a new invoice. Tightening the screw, $1. Knowing which screw to tighten, $999 for a total of $1,000. You've probably heard some version of this story, whether it's a hammer and hammering in a nail or a screw that needs to be tightened. But to be clear, what you know absolutely matters. Your expertise, your skills, your knowledge, that's your value. That's what people are willing to pay for. But the catch, of course, is that if nobody knows you exist, your expertise is worthless. The repairman's knowledge only mattered because someone recommended him. Someone knew him. Someone remembered him as the guy who can fix anything. So yes, what you know matters. And yes, who you know matters. But the real game changer is who knows you, who remembers you, who thinks of you when they have a problem that you can solve. There was a study, and I don't remember what year it was, but somewhere in the past couple of decades, I believe, and it comes from Harvard. And it's one of those rare research projects that's as shocking as it is simple. A researcher wanted to understand what makes someone memorable in conversation. So he started conducting interviews on flights. He would sit next to random passengers that he didn't know and engage them in conversation for the entire flight, sometimes 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. And here's the twist. In these conversations, he barely said anything about himself. In fact, that was his challenge, was to have them speak more than he did. If you've done any level of sales training and sales experience, then you know this. The person who is talking the most in a sales conversation is the person that is losing that sales conversation. So it's kind of the approach that he took. And instead of talking about himself, he asked questions. He listened. He let the other person talk about their life, their work, their passions, their struggles. And this is important, he was genuinely curious. At the end of the flight, the person sitting next to him was asked a simple question. What did you think of that conversation? And the results over and over again, the passengers said he was the most interesting person they'd ever met. So let that sink in. He barely talked. Many times they didn't even know his name, and yet they found him interesting. Why? Because he made them feel interesting. He made them feel heard. He made them feel valued. You know the old adage, people will forget what you said, and they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. This is the first major key to becoming memorable. Don't try to be the most interesting person in the room. Be the most interested person in the room. So how do you actually do this? How do you show genuine interest without sounding like you're conducting an interrogation? So this is where I want to introduce you to a framework from Brendon Burchard. If you're not following his work, he's a high-performance coach. He has some amazing frameworks about life and business. And he teaches a simple but profound approach to networking that has really worked well. And he says that for anyone in your network, whether that's someone you just met or someone you've known for a decade, you should be able to answer 4 questions. Question number 1, do you know what they need? Number 2, do you know who they want to meet? Number 3, do you know what they love to do? And number 4, do you know who they love the most? So let's break these down, because each one is designed to deepen your connection and position you as someone who genuinely cares. Question number 1, do you know what they need? Not what they want, what they need. What's the challenge they're facing right now? What's keeping them up at night? In business, this might be cash flow. It might be hiring or trying to scale the business. In life, it might be balance and harmony and health and relationship stress. When you understand what someone needs, you have the opportunity to add value. You can make an introduction. You can share a resource. You can simply say, I see you, I get it, and you're not alone. Number 2, do you know who they want to meet? This is about their aspirations. Who is someone that they admire? What kind of person would be a game changer for them to connect with? Could be a potential client, a mentor, a collaborator. If you can make that introduction, you become invaluable. LinkedIn was kind of founded on this concept, right? You become a connector, and connectors are always remembered. Number 3, do you know what they love to do? And I don't mean their job, unless they are one of the fortunate people that get to do what they love. But what do they love intrinsically? What lights them up? Is it golf? Is it woodworking? Is it travel? It could be scaling businesses. It could be coaching their kids' soccer team. When you know this, you can connect on a human level. You can ask about their weekend project. You can share an article about their hobby. You show that you see them as a whole person, not just a transaction. Question number 4, do you know who they love the most? Their spouse, their kids, their parents, the people who matter most to them. When you remember to ask, how is your daughter doing with soccer, or how is your dad's health? That's when people know that you truly care. That's when you become unforgettable. The key, of course, is you have to be genuinely interested. You have to be genuinely curious at a human level. The second major key to becoming memorable is this: add value, add value, add value. I learned this lesson the hard way early in my career. I thought networking was about collecting business cards and pitching my services. You go to events, networking events, you talk about what you did, you hand out the card, and you wonder why nobody ever calls. Gary Vaynerchuk has an interesting concept called the $80 strategy. For him, this is how it works. You metaphorically leave your 2 cents, quote unquote, which is your thoughts, your encouragement, your value, on social media accounts every day. But here's the key: you're not selling, you're not pitching, you're just showing up and being helpful. When I started implementing this in my coaching business, I would search hashtags like stressed or work-life balance or overwhelmed dad, and I would just help. Just leave an encouraging comment. Just share a resource. Just ask a thoughtful question. Never selling, never promoting, just being present and adding value. Let me be more specific about how to add value in a way that's genuine and meaningful. Number one, be empathetic to their current situation. If someone just posted about a tough week, don't ignore it. Acknowledge it. You could say something like, "That sounds incredibly hard. How are you holding up?" Number two, look for opportunities to connect them with resources or people. You could say something like, "Hey, I know someone who specializes in exactly what you're dealing with. Can I make an introduction?" And this is the most important one. Number three, divorce yourself from the outcome. This is critical because you're not trying to get anything from them. You're not keeping score. You're building a relationship because relationships have intrinsic value. Authentic human connection has the most value of anything that you will ever offer. When you operate this way, something magical happens. You become the person that people remember. You become the one they want to stay in touch with. You become the one they respond to when you do eventually reach out. So let's get tactical. You might be thinking, this sounds great, but how do I actually do this in my day-to-day life? So I'm going to give you a simple daily and weekly framework that you can start implementing immediately. Number one, the morning engagement block. This could take you about 10 minutes. Every morning before you dive into work, spend 10 minutes engaging with your network. This is your $80 time, as Gary refers to it, or your 2 cent time. Comment authentically on posts from people in your network. Reply to a few Instagram or LinkedIn stories. Send 1 or 2 direct messages checking in on people, not pitching, genuinely curious on how they're doing. The key word is authentically. No generic, quote unquote, great post type comments. Actually read, actually care, actually engage. Number 2, the 4-question check-in. Once a day, pick one person in your network and run through Brendon's 4 questions. What do they need? Who do they want to meet? What do they love to do? And who do they love the most? If you can't answer all 4, reach out and have a conversation. You could say, "Hey, I was thinking about you. How's everything going with?" and then insert one specific thing about their life. Number 3, the value add moment. This takes just a few minutes. Once a day, find one opportunity to add value with 0 expectation. You could share a helpful article with someone specific. You could make an introduction, leave an encouraging voice note, celebrate someone's win publicly. And then throughout your week, you could do a networking coffee session. Schedule one in-person or video coffee session with someone in your network every week, not to sell, not to pitch, just to connect. Use the 4 questions as your conversation guide. Number 2, weekly, is the gratitude outreach. Once a week, send 3 to 5 messages to people who have impacted you. Thank them. Tell them specifically what they did and how it helped, and be genuine. People are starving for genuine appreciation. This one habit alone will make you unforgettable. And number 3, weekly, is the strategic event. This can vary a little bit, but try and attend one networking event, workshop, or community gathering per week. But the twist, of course, is don't go with the goal of meeting 50 people. You hear that all the time. Go to networking events and meet as many people as you can. And that's great. Meet as many people as you can, but that's not the goal. Go with the goal of having 3 deep conversations. Remember, quality over quantity makes you memorable. Now, some of you might be thinking, Joel, this sounds exhausting. I don't have time for all of this relationship building. I get it. I hear you. You're busy. You're running a business. You've got a family. You're already overwhelmed. Here's what I need you to understand, though. This isn't extra work. This is the work. Every successful person I know, every entrepreneur who's built something meaningful, every leader who's created lasting impact, they all have one thing in common. They've mastered the art of being known. Not famous, not viral, just genuinely known and remembered by the people who matter. And the irony in this is that when you shift your focus from what can I get to how can I serve, you end up getting more than you ever imagined. But it comes as a byproduct, not as the goal. Let me tell you what this looked like for me. There was someone that I wanted to connect with online, and I started with the goal of how can I find value for this person in a way that makes me memorable. And so I looked at their website and I looked at several things that they were doing. Amazing work, by the way. And I noticed a link that wasn't working. So I sent them a simple message. Hey, I noticed that this link is not working on your website. It was very simple, but it started a conversation into, oh, thank you very much. I don't think we're connected. How are you? Who are you? What do you do? Type thing. And it was something so simple that took very little time that now is a friend. And they answer my texts and return my phone calls and have been to events with me. And it started with one simple outreach. To another person, I sent them a message and said, I love what you're doing. Have you considered taking that concept into another industry or for another company? And they said, well, what do you mean? And I simply said, I think you're leaving money on the table. I'm happy to make an introduction to you if that's something that you would think is valuable. No expectation of return at all. And that also turned into a meaningful friendship that we still have today. Something as simple as that. And to them, I became known as not the guy who's always pitching, but the guy who genuinely cares and always adds value. That's the person people remember. That's the person people want to do business with. So yes, it takes intention. Yes, it takes time. But the ROI on being the most memorable person in the room, it's infinite. And if you're more focused on the quality of a few interactions over quantity of surface interactions, I promise you it'll go miles and miles beyond simply handing out another business card that gets thrown in the trash. So here's your challenge for today. For the next week, for the next 7 days, I want you to do 3 things. Pick 5 people in your network, people you already know but haven't connected with deeply. Maybe it's a colleague, a client, or an old friend, someone you met at an event. Run Brendon's 4 questions for each person. Write down what you know, identify what you don't know, then reach out and have a genuine conversation to fill in the gaps. Number 3, add value to each person with 0 expectation. Maybe you make an introduction, maybe you share a resource, maybe you just send a voice note saying, hey, I was thinking about you. How are things going with, and insert the thing. And that's it, 5 people, 4 questions, 7 days. I promise you if you do this, you will start to see a shift. People will respond differently. Opportunities will start to appear. You'll start to feel more connected and less like you're shouting into the void. Another example of this was a friend I went to high school with that was launching a startup. And it was a hardware startup, which hardware is incredibly hard to start up. And I loved what he was doing. I thought it was an amazing concept and idea. And every once in a while, I would send him an article on the industry that he was in. And I did this for several years, actually, maybe 2 or 3 years. Again, 0 expectation of anything back. I just loved what he was doing. And it was a very small way that I thought I could help. Well, one day that friend called me and said, hey, I appreciate all the things that you've done to support what I'm doing. I actually think I could use your help. And that turned into me coming on to help him take this concept from design to working prototype and even pitching it in front of media agencies and a couple of big tech companies. It was an incredible experience. It taught me a lot. I got to work with people way smarter than me and way more capable than me. And it really launched another level of entrepreneurship in myself about how to take something from nothing and take it into something beautiful all from scratch. So if you're sitting here thinking, Joel, I love this framework, but I need help implementing it, I need accountability, I need a community of people who are on the same journey, then I've got something special for you. I run something called the 5-Day Boss Challenge, and it's designed specifically for high-achieving dads who feel trapped between growing their business and showing up for their family. Over 5 days, I walk you through 4 pillars of the Boss Dad framework. That's balanced, owner, strategic shepherd, and a way to implement the system to scale your business without sacrificing your family. And being memorable is a huge part of it with your spouse, with your kids, and in your business relationships, because the right relationships create leverage. And when you use the leverage of your time and the quality of your presence to be there for the ones that matter most, the ROI is priceless. The 4 pillars of the Boss Dad framework are the balanced, owner, strategic shepherd. For 4 days, 1 hour a day, I walk you through the 4 pillars of the Boss Dad framework. That's balanced, owner, strategic shepherd. And then we wrap up with a powerful day 5 that brings it all together. We talk through how to build a business that doesn't require you to be always on. We go through the CEO to dad transition firewall that helps you be fully present at home, and mindset shifts that help you stop feeling guilty and start feeling orchestrated. It happens live in the community of dads who show up. They're exactly the kind of people you want in your network: ambitious, heart-centered, and committed to winning at life and at business. Go to beabossdad.com to join the next challenge. Let me leave you with this. The old adage was wrong. It's not about what you know, it's not about who you know. That was just incomplete. What you know matters. Who you know matters. But it's about who knows you, who remembers you, who thinks of you when opportunity knocks. And the way you become that person is simple. Be the most interested person in the room, not the most interesting. Ask the 4 questions. What do they need? Who do they want to meet? What do they love to do? And who do they love the most? And then add value, add value, add value with 0 expectation of return. Do this consistently, and I promise you, your struggle for opportunities will be minimized. People will seek you out, doors will open, your network will become your greatest asset. And the beautiful part is you'll do it by being genuinely human, by caring, and by showing up. That's an orchestrated life. That's what it means to be a boss dad. Drop a comment below telling me which of the 4 questions you struggle with the most, and I'll respond to every single one. And if this resonated with you, do me a favor, share this video with one person who needs to hear it. Be the connector. Be the person who adds value. Now go be the most memorable person in the room. Win at business, win at life, be a boss dad.